All right, welcome back to Comics, the podcast where me and my mom talk about our comic collection. And the first one we have today is Superboy 37, The New Adventures of Superboy. And,
It's got extra thrills.
well, I don't know. It's got an extra story. I don't know if I call it thrilling. But this actually reminds me of the Green Lantern you did from last comics podcast episode where they had the tall head guys that had extra strong willpower.
Yeah.
This guy's kind of got a similar,
Bulbous head.
well, his head's not as tall. It is a little bulbous, but he's got a similar superpower where he can, like, if he believes something is true, it becomes true. It's like powered by his own belief. It's weird. And his catchy supervillain name is William. William Wright. He doesn't have, like, the believer or something. Or the headman. He's just William. I'm evil William. So,
Aren't they, though?
this is, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt because this is like the conclusion to a two-part story. So the last issue might have gotten into William's backstory more, his motivations. So, maybe he is a more interesting villain than he seems in this issue. But
Does he sap the willpower of those around him, too?
yeah, so that's how he, like, became powerful enough to fight Superboy, is he, like, discovered that he can manipulate, like, through his willpower to believe something, he can manipulate reality, but then when he enslaves other people, he can, like, channel their willpower or something, too. And, yeah, when I first saw this page, I thought it was going to be, like, a cult story or something.
Yeah.
Because he can make the moon stop in the sky. That's, like, his big feat of... I mean, it's impressive, but I don't know. They mentioned that he robbed a bank before that, and then he's stopping the moon. I understand robbing the bank, yeah.
That escalated quickly.
You need money, but you're going to stop the moon? What did it ever do? All right, so this was... this is like the flashback that was a flash forward or something like that. This is how it all starts. I like the drawing in this one. I like the style. It's kind of like, I don't know, just like a classic style. It's Kurt Schaffenberger is the artist, I guess. But there's some good action sequence. I like the wavy lines on that.
Yeah.
drawing. I wouldn't have thought to do that. It's kind of... it gives it a cartoony style, or like these scenes kind of look like an Archie comic or something.
Yeah, I like it.
But there's William. William's glowing. That's how the story starts, is William decides that he wants everybody to get out of the street. These are the teenagers that he's enslaved to his willpower. He's like funneling their willpower into him or something. And then he tells all these pedestrians, get off the street, and they go into... Pa Kent, his general store, Superboy's dad. And he's like, I guess it got busy. But they're like, no, actually, we didn't want to come to your store, but this man told us that we couldn't. And he tries to go out in the street, and he is physically prevented from doing it.
Jehoshaphat.
I know. Jehoshaphat.
What? What, Dad?
Some of the language in these is so goofy. But yeah, I guess William Wright, he's a school teacher. He came to my class yesterday, said he wanted to give us all a special test. Next time I saw him, he got a bunch of them together saying he wanted to talk about their scores on their tests. Then he showed up again last night with all those kids in tow like they were hypnotized and robbed the Smallville bank.
He tested to see who was easily influenced.
Yeah, I think so. I wonder what was on the test.
Wow.
If I told you to rob a bank, would you do it? Yes or no?
Sure.
It's just one question test.
Clark can't remember.
I like these little dots around the speech bubble. I guess that this is like them being quiet.
Yeah.
That's like whispering, I guess, because they're in the store. They don't want to be like, so, Superboy, are you going to crack the case, son? He's carrying a box of
That's
Crunchies.
cool.
What do you think Crunchies are?
Cat food.
I thought it would be like potato chips. It probably is. All right, so let's see. He goes off to confront William, who is robbing the haberdashery. The Smallville haberdashery. He's getting all the finest suits. That's the weirdest thing that it brings up too. It makes me think is he says, I do believe I'd like you to outfit me with your nicest suits you've got in your establishment, sir. You don't mind, do you? No, sir. But he's asking for the nicest. Does that just mean he has to get the most expensive? Or does he think like, well, this one would look good on him? Like he's mind controlled, but you have to interpret nicest. Unless he's gonna just bring him all the suits from the store. So is it up to like what he thinks, what William thinks is the nicest suit, and he like gives that image into his brain and makes him obey? Or is it just up to this mental slave's interpretation to be like, well, it's not the most expensive, but I think it's good on William.
And is it always green?
Yeah. Green and yellow. It's his Green Bay Packers suit. So let's see. Superboy confronts him, but not before we have another snake puzzle. I don't think we've seen this one. Snake puzzle mini comic. This one with Batman. I think we saw Superman and Spider-Man so far with the snake puzzle.
We haven't seen the Joker
Batman.
yet.
I know. He can't resist. I thought the Riddler would be the natural choice, honestly.
Look at how into it he is.
He loves a good snake puzzle. They all do. Robin's message said that he was tracking the Joker to the Sears department store. The toy department is a logical place to find the Joker. What a weird thought. Like, I bet he's in the toy aisle. Oh,
That's why there aren't any
He's
Sears.
the world's greatest detective. Who am I to argue?
That's why there aren't any Sears anymore. The Joker is scary.
Batman, thank goodness. Robin and the Joker were here a moment ago, but they vanished. Vanished, eh? This SOS. What is this? They had time to make an SOS out of snake toys like, as they're being kidnapped. Or do they carry on 4 snake toys in the configuration of an SOS just in case they get kidnapped? I'm going to drop these like a breadcrumb
Part
trail.
of the utility belt.
Those are magic snakes, Batman. They're a new toy craze. Each one makes 23 trillion different patterns, shapes, animals, even letters, like this SOS and this arrow shape pointing to a trap door. Freeze right there, Joker. Drat, the Batman. He couldn't hear them talking?
Yeah.
And this guy's like giving him the salesman. He's like, my partner might be dead. Could you hurry? I don't need to know all the great facts about the snake toy. When I saw the message you constructed out of magic snakes, Robin, TM, magic snakes. I always thought that was weird as a kid. You need to see the little copyright
trademark thing, yeah.
It bothered me. I knew just where to look. Another one of your sneaky tricks, Boy Wonder. This time, Joker, more like a snaky trick. Oh, that's corny.
Dad
I
joke.
like it. So he picks up William and he commands him not to move. So he can't even lift him anymore or something. See, what did I tell you? You're good, Superboy. Very good. That's why I chose Smallville to make my debut. I wanted you to be my first foe. Man, I would not go after Superboy. If I was a new supervillain, this guy has some guts on him. He doesn't even have a supervillain name. He's just a mad teacher named William. And he's like, I'm going to take Superboy down.
With a name like this.
William Wright.
I can't be wrong.
I should have made him like a descendant of the Wright brothers. And I don't know what that has to do with airplanes, but you could make it more interesting. And he's mad he's mad about something from the past. The Wright brothers were wronged in some way. I don't know. Anyway, he believes that he can pick up a car, so he throws it at Superboy. I like that little sequence. That's cool. Because normally I think you'd be tempted to go left to right, then bottom, so they put this little arrow in there. But it works with the action. Like, it makes you pay attention to this. I don't know, it flows nicely, is all I'm trying to say.
That's cool. He told him that he couldn't move, and then he throws his car, and it dents the car, but keeps... That's cool.
Yeah, I like that. Like, they sell the impact with the tires and stuff coming off. But, yeah, you're right, that it makes it even worse because he can't even, like, move with the throw. He kind of looks like Kurt Vonnegut or something, or like this guy, or like Donald Sutherland, maybe. play him if they made a terrible movie out of this one. Oh, Pete Ross. Do you remember Pete Ross, the classic Superboy character? Me neither. I don't know. He's just one of his pals, I guess. He's the only one I think that gets a name in that's under the power of William. And he just explains that. He's like, indeed, they are the very source of that power. It's just to like make it easier for Superboy. You're some kind of creep. Smallville High was a veritable gold mine of such minds. I gathered together all the students who fit the desired profile, and through a process I still don't quite understand, took complete control of them. That's weird that he adds, he's like, I'm not even sure what I did, but
yeah,
it's working.
Kind of makes me want to go back to the first comic and see. Does it show like, I don't know, like him getting electrocuted or?
Oh right, or does he just
something?
discover one day that he can do that, and why?
Does he take a nap and wake up, Mr. Right?
Dig through the boxes and find the other one.
Yeah,
it'll be the prequel. And I like the boff. I wouldn't have thought to use that sound effect.
Noff.
It looked like I thought he kicked him in the nuts when I first. I was like, damn, that's kind of low blow, Superboy. It's also weird that William grabs his cape like it's.
What is his wingspan?
Yeah, it makes Superboy look like a chump, kind of. He's like, I got you by the cape, like, and his little facial expression there. He like got like 30 years older for a second. He's like, whomp. He kicks poor William in the nuts. He
earned it.
Like, I think one punch, even if you got willpower, I guess his willpower says, I can take a punch from Superboy. I thought it would just like take his head off. They even collide in air. That's a pretty cool sequence.
Wow.
One thing I do like about this is the dialogue isn't amazing or anything, but there's a lot of good space for the action. The word bubbles don't take up too much proportion on the page.
Yeah,
so
good
it
point,
gives it a nice. Some of the comics, when I was reading for past episodes, it was like, damn, this is dense with dialogue, and the word bubbles are just taking up like half the space.
Oh, so he believed that he wasn't going to survive.
Yes, yeah, sorry, to get back on track here.
Wow.
He even knocks out Superboy, like, they say he's been out so long. Do you think they thought he was dead, I guess. The boy's got remarkable willpower. He's made it this far on his own.
That's weird.
And at first I was like, well, how did he get from there back home to the Kent's place? But they explained it. He's like, you were barely able to fly, and then you got here and passed out, so it just on instinct or something, you just got home. And then I also like this depiction of Superboy's face. He looks really...
He's pissed.
Yeah, he's doing the hand fist pound thing. He's really emphasizing.
He means it this time.
With fire. You're going at it all wrong. Remember, it's his belief in himself that gives him his power. Of course, like the guy didn't just explain that to him. He had to have his dad like dumb it down for him. But William was basically telling him, it was like, yep, I use these kids to amplify
He doesn't even know how.
Right. Pa, you're an absolute genius. Wright can be stopped, but only by himself. I kind of feel like the writers were still, at this point, figuring out how he's going to defeat him. Because, I don't know, it's like, well, you couldn't have thought of that yourself?
It's like,
What
guys,
does that even mean?
it's Friday. We go to press tomorrow.
Exactly.
Gotta figure this out.
I feel bad for the kids back in the day that had to wait a month for this thrilling conclusion of the William Wright. Like, another William Wright story. I don't care what happens to him.
His hair looks really weird here.
He's got like a Mr. T going on at the sides, and it's almost like a mohawk from that angle. It's a little weird.
That's weird.
So let's see. I think he's revealing his true power. Look at those fools in town, serenely sitting down to dinner, never realizing that before they get to dessert, they will be under my power. I've experimented with my newfound abilities long enough. The time has come to put them to the use I always intended, when William Wright will become master rather than the lackey everyone has always treated me as. Yes, I believe the time has come. So he's going to enslave the whole town to his willpower.
Okay.
If not
Age-old
for Superboy.
story.
You don't impress me in the least with that power gibberish. I believe that the moon will cease its travels around the earth. And he uses his, I can see the moon with the naked eye, but he has to use, like, there's the little line. So I guess he's using his magnifying vision. He's like, he's right, it's not moving. I guess the movement is not very perceptible. Maybe that's what he's using his powers for. To see if the moon is still rotating. Or the moon is still in orbit. Let's see. Oh, and that's what I was going to ask you. He says, Rao. He says this a couple times, like, by Rao, R-A-O. Is that like the god of Krypton or something? Because he says,
Good
like, he uses it
question.
as an exclamation a couple of times in this comic, like, by Rao, or Rao, or whatever. Yeah, but Rao, help him. The conflict could shatter his mind. I never remember
I
ever
don't
reading anything
remember
about
that
the
either.
Kryptonian religion or anything like that. That would be interesting to learn about.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, so he tries his power out on Superboy. I believe that. All right, I believe you should stop right where you are. Uh-huh, just as I thought, right? You're nothing but a phony. I can still move, see? So he's mysteriously overcome his power of suggestibility. And he breaks his friend Pete Ross, who's just kind of like Archie. He's like the Jimmy Olsen stand-in. 'Cause
Yeah.
I guess Jimmy Olsen would be like in middle school or elementary school at this point. That would have been funny, though, to have him be his little buddy even back then. He's
Yeah.
Like, he's in kindergarten or something.
Whoa, does it explain how he was able to...
They all have to remain in physical contact, so he breaks the chain, which starts depriving William Wright of his power and snaps Pete
But how
out
did
of it.
Superboy...
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
The writers didn't think of how exactly. They just knew it needed to happen, and then get there eventually. That's my favorite panel in the whole issue. He looks so vindictive. Superboy's supposed to be like, truth, justice, and the American way. He's like, I'm gonna... You son of a gun. He's just being a little...
He's aggro.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, I don't think he has invulnerability powers. I guess he must have through his belief. But anyway, I guess Pete wants to go after him. He's so mad for being enslaved. And Superboy has to knock out Pete. Yeah. It's like, damn, he's gonna come to. And he's like, oh, thanks for saving me from myself. And he's like spitting all his teeth out. Thanks, Superboy. Do you hear me right? I don't believe! Wham! Crack! He's really kicking his ass. Whap!
Wow.
So, William Wright gulps back his fear, and despite his best efforts to the contrary, believes the Teen of Steel's angrily snarled words, and that is his undoing. That Superboy was able to get Wright to finally have self-doubt, I guess, to finally believe that he could be wrong. And then... How did he ever do that? I guess Lana Lang is there. Is that who that is, Lana Lang? I think she was like his girlfriend before he moved to Metropolis. How were you able to defy his beliefs? Well, I realized in order to win, I had to get Wright to stop believing in his power, and the only way to do that was to show him they didn't work against somebody, namely me. So I used some super self-hypnosis. You thought you knew all of Superman's powers. He can fly. He's super fast. He's invulnerable. He can breathe like an ice breath. And he has heat vision. What else can he do? He can go back in time if he flies
Against rotation, or
and
opposite
he can
rotation?
hypnotize himself.
Wow.
Telling myself I didn't believe Wright's powers could affect me, I figured Wright wasn't the only one who had to believe in order for his power to be effective, and if I didn't believe in him, I wouldn't be susceptible to him. Pete, you okay, pal? You only broke my whole head. My skull is fractured, but yeah, I'll be all right. So that's the thrilling conclusion, but as you suggested, what was it? Extra Thrills? Extra Thrills with Dial H for Hero. I remember I remember the title, but I couldn't remember the premise of Dial H for Hero. I just recognized the name of it, and I think it's these two teens or preteens who have these dial devices where, depending on the setting, they change into different superhero personas. So
I don't remember that at
we're
all.
picking up from last month, so we're in the middle of some confrontation with a hero named Great Jupiter, who has this disturbing pair of lips on his head. It's actually his third eye, but it has eyelids, which makes it look really creepy. It's not great. One of the kids has lost his powers temporarily, and she is in like a future-seeing persona. Let's see, her visionary power. I think that's who she is.
What does his shirt say? It looks like it says Cheesehead.
Maybe they're
He's
in
blonde.
Wisconsin. I don't know. Well, that guy had his green and yellow suit on.
Ew, that's
Yeah,
gross.
it's funky looking. It's not great. That part of it is the color too. Like they didn't make it the same color as the rest of his skin, so it's like some weird scab or something.
But like your normal eyes, the movable lid is like bigger than the immovable lid. You know, that's
that's true. It's like it's bigger than his normal eyes. So
it is like lips.
There's some really great dialogue in this one. Now, with the powers invested in me by the H dial, I pronounce you dead. But she can predict how the fight between these two is going to go because she has like some kind of future-telling power. And so she says, duck, and he ducks. She says, dive right, jump, lean left. And it's like he can respond. He can think quickly enough where he's like, oh, yeah, I feel like they would say left and I'd accidentally go right one time and then get clobbered. But they're on it.
Wow.
Zounds. You never hear anybody say zounds anymore. Zounds. He gets his power back. And then the main story, like that's just like the 2-3 page conclusion of last month's story. The next story is basically setting up
werewolf.
next month with oh, it's actually a dog and a cat, but yeah, it totally looks like a werewolf or something like that. Yeah, I think they turn back into their teenage alter egos. And then I don't really get this part. It says, look at that mean old dog chasing that cat. I have half a mind to dial H and give the mud a taste of his own. She like wants to turn into a superhero and whoop on that dog.
Dial to 11 and beat the crap out of a dog.
Besides, I'm sure that cat can take care of himself. Cats have been around a lot longer than superheroes. Yeah, I guess you're right. Some more of that great dialogue. And it turns out that the dogs, I think, were being projected. They're like some kind of holograph. Beautiful, my shadow box worked like a charm. You're going to have to wait. This is the silhouette. The silhouette is the creation of Ty Preston from, I think that's an H or an M, Horling or Morling? Hard to read with the print. Conroe, Texas. So that's what jogged my memory finally. I think, I didn't look this up. I probably should have. But I think this mini comic, Dial H for Hero, people write in their ideas about a superhero persona or supervillains, and they're credited. So, because a couple of them really revealed, like a 4th grade class came up with one of the ideas. I thought that was really cool. It's not a great comic, but it's a great idea. It's a really cool thing that it makes it interactive.
Well, you could test things out, and then the things that work, you take it.
You steal the idea from a 4th grade class, and you make millions of dollars.
That's the American way.
So anyway, what are they doing? Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over the main antagonist, who is this firecracker guy. I think is his name. He's like a fireworks themed super villain, and he's stealing comics from a comic book store.
What are those?
The Firecracker, excuse
Looks like
me.
he's got hair rollers.
He's the creation of Larry King. Morrisville, do you think it's the Larry King?
It has to be.
The Firecracker! He's my idea! He'll steal comics.
What are those things on his forehead?
Fireworks. You know, he's got to have them on his arms or on his belt. And he's like, well, I need a couple more. Let's put them right above my eyebrows.
That's crazy.
Oh, and so they dial H, and depending on whatever they dial into this little machine, she becomes Spyglass. Spyglass is the creation of David Lynham from Owasso, Oklahoma, and he becomes Jimmy Gymnastic. Jimmy Gymnastic is the creation of Miss Neefield's 4th grade class. I really wish my 4th grade class would have got to come up with a superhero and send it to Marvel
But he's
Comics.
just like roller derby dude.
He is also really cringe, like dialogue, like wisecracks, because, let's see, hands off those collector's items. They're meant for fans, not fiends. Who? And his fingers get all long. It's weird that they depicted his little blasting power like that. Like, his fingers just extend. I kind of like that, actually. Actually, I should say, who cares? He's so sassy. You're about to become part of my Roman candle show, sucker. Thanks, but I didn't bring my catcher's mitt. Instead, let's pretend we're playing checkers and I jump over you. Of course, instead of playing by real checkers rules, you don't have to king me. Like, that took it too far. Okay, you make like a little analogy to checkers, but then you keep evolving it mid-jump. You're like, but according to checkers rules, we'll actually... It's
And then he'll crown you.
Yeah, he keeps it going. It keeps evolving from panel to panel. I feel like that's a little too corny. It's a little too much. It breaks the illusion of believability, where like he's doing all this and he gives like this whole soliloquy of different mixed metaphors about what's going on with them.
Yeah, that's... Ew, I don't like how they drew his feet, though.
If you're the firecracker, then I'm the wisecracker. But anyway, he breaks his neck, basically. He's like, good thing I was wearing the helmet, but he crashes into a building, knowing it'll hurt him,
God.
I guess. He lights this big bomb to take him out, but if you forgot, she turned into Spyglass. You wonder what Spyglass's powers are. If she turns her Spyglass to make things smaller with the small end out, she can shrink objects. Then if she turns it with the wide end out, she can enlarge objects. She makes them super big.
God.
Great balls of fire. What? See what happens when you exercise and eat your cereal?
Oh.
You grow up big and strong like me. Now to grab him and, huh? His head's flaring up. Yow! Now I know why you should never hold a lit firecracker. It even has a good lesson for the kids of America. Don't.
Cornball.
It might seem like fun to hold lit firecrackers. All your friends might be doing it, but don't do it. So you'll have to see what happens with that Shadow Box guy with Gone with What Wind in the next Dial H for Heroes installment. So I feel like this was a fun comic. I think it's definitely geared towards younger readers.
Yeah.
It's not quite like, if you remember the Spidey and Friends, it's not quite like that where it's really like kid friendly, but you know, I think especially Dial H for Hero, I really like the concept that people can write in with their ideas, and it must be really cool to see yours realized. But I wish they put a little more effort into fleshing out the characters or the dialogue.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a little corny, but it was a little fun too.
Yeah.
We are good.
Okay, so this is Marvel Comics Group's The Defenders. It's issue 122. It is from 1983. I don't know, we're stuck on 83. It seems like everything we pull
we hit a patch, I think, of similar years.
And I love this cover. I did not recognize the antagonist, but oddly enough, it made me look up who the Defenders were at this point in time, because, you know, the groups kind of always change. Like, I recognized the Hulk and Doctor Strange, who was my favorite of all time. Beast, who is one of my favorites. Valkyrie. Iceman, I didn't remember being in the Defenders, and I'm not sure that he was, or if he was visiting in this episode. This issue. We'll get there. And then Gargoyle. And I don't really remember Gargoyle's origin story. I just know that he was a man from World War II, and then he got
Gargoylized.
Gargoylized, yeah.
Some people got PTSD, or they lost a limb or something. He turned into a gargoyle during World War II.
It happens. But I like this cover. The only thing that stands out to me, the only thing that is kind of weird, is that when I first looked at it, I thought that Iceman had hair. Just for a second.
Yeah, why not? If you can manifest different shapes of ice, why not give yourself a flowing mullet or a ponytail? Just to make people laugh. You know, that's the funny thing is it was so weird when they announced it on Netflix when they did the new Defenders, which is like the street level Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Power Man, Luke Cage. are the Defenders. I really enjoyed that series, actually. I thought it was kind of underrated. I hope they do another one. And it took me so long to like visualize when I heard the Defenders, to visualize those MCU people, and now to go back, because I always grew up looking through our comics, and I'm like, yeah, the Defenders, that's like the weird, it's like Avengers meets X-Men, and Doctor Strange is like the chief of it. He's like the boss.
Yeah, he's...
And that's what I thought was so interesting, is like, it's a weird mixture of characters. Because, like,
it really is.
This kind of side of the page, it's like, okay, is this like an Avengers book? Or maybe even Valkyrie, you could include in that. But then it's
you've
like
got
X-Men,
these
a
two,
couple
right?
original X-Men. But I have to say, the reason I picked this when we were pulling comics for future episodes, just the cover. Really the yellow, the background really makes it pop. If it was different background, I feel like it wouldn't be quite as dynamic, all the people converging on this little gnome guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the way that works. It's kind of abstract
Little
background.
gnome guy's name is Elf with a Gun.
Are you serious? That's his actual name.
Elf with a Gun.
I also like that Iceman's kind of doing the Zoolander, like the blue steel.
Yeah.
He's sucking in his cheeks a little bit.
That's
like, get my good side.
That's the new surgery going around. All right. So as we open up, just like yours was, this is the second part. So this is ending the previous story where Miracle Man was defeated. And it starts out with this priest, or what is he?
A monk?
Yeah, a monk who they're returning back to like the monastery. And because he had stolen the what was it called? The Dark Soul from Hellstrom. And it gave him powers.
Son of Satan?
Yes.
I forgot about that.
crazy.
What a weird character. With all the satanic panic stuff in the 80s,
I know.
to have a character that's called Son of Satan.
I
He
was
kind of just is a redheaded sort of fellow. He's
I was just talking
not
about
that
that.
demonic.
Like an hour ago, I was just talking about that with your sister. I'm like,
That's
they
so
have
weird. I feel
a-
like today people would get upset.
I
if
know.
You had maybe, I don't know.
and like
People
all
are
these years
sensitive.
ago, I mean, what, 83, 89?
That's like 40 years ago.
Yeah, 40 years ago. They have a main character called Son of Satan. But yeah, I totally forgot about that. So anyway, they bring him back to the monastery and they leave him there. And then Hellstrom and Patsy, who
that
is
Hellcat?
Hellcat, yes, they go for a
They're
walk,
both from
and
hell,
this is
so they know each other.
and they have their little romantic moment where he's taking her outside to tell her something, and she kind of interrupts and says, oh, I'm so sorry, I really do. And she's like, no, you couldn't tell me that you cared about me before. I'm staying here. I'm got my soul back. I'm not the son of Satan anymore. And then they turn it all
so
around.
he was like a villain that became a hero kind of character. I don't remember much about the
I
Son
know,
of Satan.
Hellstrom. I know. But anyway,
This is like the soap opera part.
The soap opera part, exactly. And so he doesn't stay at the monastery and everything's fine. Then, boom.
I love this sequence.
Yes!
And this is my favorite frame so far, the help and the little paw
Yeah,
in front of... I don't know, that's very dynamic.
But it's like,
cool.
yeah, it's like Beast, and he's yelling help.
That's what I want to get to.
This is the first appearance of Sassafras in the Marvel Universe.
Is that the cat's name?
Well, and it's so funny because he's like, somebody help me, please help. If those teeth sink into me, those horrible claws rend my flesh, I'll never be able to bear the pain. Help!
That's the Beast calling out?
The Beast!
Oh my god.
It's like, what the heck's going on
Not
back
a
in
Beast,
headquarters?
the Beast.
And then you have everybody sitting around in the living room, but it's
He's
so,
wearing clothes.
He's wearing
How come
clothes.
he wears clothes sometimes? Is he wearing clothes on the... No, he's
Yeah,
wearing little
it's just-
shorts.
yeah, his shorts. But yeah, he's wearing his whole. But if you read it, everybody's talking to him like he's a kid.
I feel like if Beast is going to wear like corduroys and a button down, wouldn't he turn to Gargoyle and be like, could you wear more than your loincloth? Like, put some slacks on. We're not in battle. You don't have to wear your weird like knee socks. I guess it's hard to find gargoyle clothes. You have to cut holes for your wings. And...
So this is just hilarious because it's like all these super people are sitting around in a living room with a older lady
I wouldn't
watching
want
the
him breaking
Beast.
my couch.
I know it.
This guy's too big to be sitting.
I couldn't remember who that was, and I was like, "Who is that lady? She's huge."
I don't think it's a lady.
It's not. It's Overmind.
Overmind?
Overmind.
I do not remember Overmind.
It's like a mental collection of like 6 people. It's
wow.
This has really motivated me to go back and look into the origin stories of everybody. You know, because I mean, Valkyrie, you know, that's easy to remember. The Beast, we all know, but you know, Overmind and Gargoyle and Pat Hellcat and Son of Satan. I don't remember everything. But anyway, so they're hanging around, and the Beast and Sassafras start busting stuff up, but it shows Gargoyle and Overmind's powers a little bit. But it's funny how he goes, "Indeed, Gargoyle, a simple kinetic push should suffice to restore it to its power or proper resting place." It's like having to, you know, in this long
he has to
sentence,
explain. Like,
explain
I'm
his
pretty sure the
power.
motion lines sell it. I think that we can understand he's using his mind to do that. But you
But
have to
that's-
be like, this is what I'm doing right now with my telekinetic powers.
Yes.
Just a couple
hilarious.
of slurping licks from this dog. Well, you might as well do that.
Yeah. It's
Why does he
cute,
wear
though.
socks?
It's cute. Well, probably his toenails will bust through.
Ugh.
But then Hellcat and Damon come back, and
Yeah, I thought the son of Satan was supposed to be named Damien, like the what is it, the Omen or whatever? Isn't that kid's name Damien? And then in
Yeah,
the comics they always put
Damon.
the I before the M.
yeah,
They're like, no, not that Satan. He's not the son
It's
of
not
the
that
Satan,
Satan.
just a guy named Satan. Satan Jones.
so they come back and they announce that they're getting married. And this little series here is awesome. Everybody's reaction.
Married? You think that's how Gargoyle talks? He looks like
He looks like
Aya
a
when you're
kid.
about to give her a piece of steak or something.
It's just bizarre.
Wonderful. his words all jagged, so I think it's got to be like
It's hilarious.
fantastic.
Fantastic. And then-
Wow.
oh my.
Who is that?
It's
Is
like
that
I
Aunt May
couldn't-
as part of this group?
Yes, it is actually.
They're all like, we know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. We should just tell him.
But her name is Dolly.
Oh, okay.
And as it turns out, she worked for Hellcat's parents, and she was like the mom that her mom couldn't be.
Oh,
So
okay.
and so they
Do they
tell
all live
everybody.
together, the Defenders?
Yeah, well, they're
like the
at,
Avengers did?
Yeah, they're at, like it gives the impression that they're at Doctor Strange's place, but a different
Oh,
because
I see.
this looks too family.
It's probably bigger on the inside than it is
right?
architecturally possible. It's
Right.
probably one of those types.
And this is the mid-century modern part of.
He's got rooms of every era.
So everybody's happy and they go about their deal, but Dolly and Valkyrie are kind of, you know, they're like they hold back, like right here you can tell something's up with Valkyrie and Dolly, you know, she kind of whispers her thing, and she admits that she didn't really approve of him, and as it turns out, it was more that she was worried about. Well, you're going to California. And she goes, oh, you know, we'll send for you, and then it's all right. That's all you have to tell an old lady.
She just
We'll
tells her,
bring you.
oh no, it's the son of Stan. It was a typo on the wedding invitation. Son of Stan. His dad's just Stan.
They switched the A and the N. It was Santa, not Satan. Son of Santa.
Well, maybe that's where the elf with the gun comes in.
And so she gets everything settled and turns around and, okay, Val, let's talk.
Beans?
I smell beans. Oh,
Makes it
that is
realistic.
Valkyrie.
Neighbors are cooking beans again, Doctor Strange.
So then Val takes off. And it's like, what's wrong? And, you know, they just did the girl talk thing. And then it cuts to the Beast, and Bobby's there. And So they're just kind of hanging out, which is, that's a little dorky, hanging out, I think in somebody's bedroom.
Yeah, I think so.
And so they talk about it, and Patsy.
No soap radio. What does that mean?
I don't
Is
know.
that a pun?
Yeah, and he says it's not as
Where's
he doesn't get the
editor
humor.
When you need it? It'd be like, this is a pun on this thing we used to say in the 80s.
I don't remember it.
Soap radio is not a phrase I'm familiar with.
Me either.
Or
Me
knows.
either.
I don't
Which
know.
is interesting because being a kid and you're reading these, you just kind of read past it, and this like sticks out to like I gotta look that up.
Yeah.
Like I have no clue what that means. It's supposed to be funny, I think.
Hilarious beast.
Because he's like, I'm afraid your humor escapes me.
I think everybody feels that way.
And so they get ready to leave, and then it cuts to Doctor Strange because he is the linchpin on which the Defenders turn, ironically.
Do you think that Doctor Strange grabs the yellow boxes when nobody's looking and cuts them up to use as the fringe of his cape when it
Yes.
gets dirty? It's like he hems them in.
But Cape can do that on its own.
Yeah, probably.
That's a pretty aware Cape. And then
that
Wong
Wong?
comes in. Yeah, Wong comes in. He's like, well, you summoned me. He's like, this is hilarious. Wong, I left strict orders that my meditations were not to be interrupted. 1,000 pardons, Master, but you have visitors.
Yeah,
It's
Doctor
like,
Strange is grumpy.
what's happening? And Submariner and Hulk show up.
And
like,
Silver Surfer? God.
well, yeah, but like, and they're all of them are like, you summoned us, and he's like, what? And all of a sudden,
Oh no, he's the
it's
one
the
that
elf
did.
with the gun, and he shoots, and then
More on him next month. We're not even.
Yeah,
Oh my
just
god!
like
The
in
cover
Europe.
got me so hyped for the elf with the gun.
I know it, I know it. Then we cut to
They need another month to figure out what exactly is the deal with this elf with the gun. We know he's going to sell issues, but what's his thing? What's his motivation?
I love that picture. That
That little
view of
hair.
He looks like Burt Reynolds or something.
You can't help curling his hair. What is this disturbance?
I left strict orders. So that was funny. Then we cut to Patsy and Damon leaving, and they say goodbye. And as she looks dramatically out the window, she sees Val, and Val's like, "Fare thee well, dearest friend." So they make up.
Do you think Silver Surfer and Iceman ever trade places, and just to see if anyone notices? They're like, we've been switched for 2 weeks, and you just noticed. They look so similar.
They look similar, but I mean, Iceman would have to do all the work.
He'd be more opaque and shiny, I think, in real life. Silver Surfer would be like metallic, shiny,
Yeah.
whereas I think Iceman in real life would be more translucent.
Yeah, Bobby would have to do all the
Bluish.
work to look like metal. I don't know that they could. So you got to
Oh no!
the beast
How could
being
you?
pissed.
On the paper.
I said on the paper. And then the doorbell rings. And so he
start
scoots
throwing mail
over.
at him?
Well, he scoots over. This is one of my favorite parts. So he's like, okay, I'm coming. And what can I do for you, Mr. Merry Mailman? And hey, man, you running a kennel in there? Sniff. Something smells real funky. I love that. Never mind. And so they said that ever since he left from Avengers Mansion, they have all this mail for him. And so they dump all this, probably fan mail and all that kind of stuff.
Why do you think he quit the Avengers and joined the Defenders?
I don't know. I mean,
They wouldn't let him have a puppy in Avengers Mansion.
I know. I think about how many comic books I've read in my life. And it's like all this information in your head that I know I must have read, why, but you can't remember all that. You can't
Yeah.
retain everything.
I feel like Beast might be one, but maybe besides Wolverine, has been on the most teams. He's like, because he's
Well,
on
he's easy
a
to
bunch
get
of
along
the
well
different
with.
X-Men teams. He's on the Avengers, the Defenders. He's all around the Marvel universe.
And then while he's sitting there in his pile of mail, wham!
He overcommits himself.
and then all of a
Iceman comes
sudden,
in,
yep,
getting ice everywhere. Jeez.
all in the
He's
mail.
got to use his powers constantly.
But the Beast's humor is great because he's like, lay one hand on me, mister, and I'll hop straight into your icy arms and kiss you. Come here, cutie, pucker up. The look on his face.
They do a great job making Beast's face expressive in this.
Yeah, I think so too. And they don't like show he's blue, but you know it's hair. You know, they do a really good job
Good
of
texture.
Yeah. And then we cut to Valkyrie, and she's sitting there kind of thinking about, her past. She's been involved with Thor, Prince Namor, this other guy who I cannot remember for
It's
the Hurricane,
Hurricane.
the noble Hurricane.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I
Doesn't
don't
ring a
remember him
bell.
at all. And then all of a sudden,
What's
the
up, ain't
Vision
you noble?
and Odin shows up.
Hey.
She's like, and
He says, "My daughter is she related to Thor then, or is that just like a daughter royal, like one of my subjects?"
right, yeah,
That's weird.
yeah.
He says it again, my daughter.
So when Gargoyle and Dolly come through the door, she's gone. She's got to go home. She's like, gotta go home. And again, oh my. And, this has been quite a day for dramatic exits.
That's a really it's a very opportune sound effect. When you take off and it says home, everybody knows where you're going.
Yeah. But I like how they did everything when he pulls her back through the time portal or wherever, however that they travel.
And that old lady, all she ever says,
Oh, my.
She's scandalized. How do you
then
feel about Brown Wolverine for a second?
I like
you
the
like
old
Brown
Brown
Wolverine? Do you like
Wolverine.
Yellow Wolverine? Do you like?
I like them all, but Brown Wolverine brings me back to right at the beginning. You know,
I like Brown Wolverine too.
It's a good Wolverine.
They should make him brown. If they put him in the MCU, they recast him, make him brown.
I always thought from before the Marvel Universe were, in the movies, I always thought that, now I lost.
Robert De Niro?
Yes, should play
I know you
him.
always tell me that, and I always tell you no, Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito.
He's like 60, he was kind of old as Wolverine.
He would be a good Wolverine.
And I just thought the attitude, but he's a little too New York, but I thought
Walk
the
in
attitude.
here. That sounds just like Wolverine.
You're going to love
Walk
this
in
whole...
here, bub. I'm the best at what I do. What I do is eat New York style pizza.
You're gonna. This whole spread.
Gargoyle's taking a bath with his friends.
Everybody's in there. The Beast is naked.
Is that Iceman depowered?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And he's scrubbing his
Why are they
back.
all taking a bath together? That's weird.
Isn't it? Look at his
A little lower, son.
It's very homoerotic.
What
Look
the
at-
heck? When in doubt, look up your best friend. And since I couldn't get in touch with the angel, I came here. All kidding aside, Hank, you always did have a knack for chasing away the blues. It's cheering him up to help his monster friends bathe. Last one downstairs is Magneto's uncle. That's goofy. I like
awesome.
that. That's some good dialogue there.
Yeah.
See, it's a joke that's specific to the world they live in versus all those dial for H of like, I'm a checkers piece, but you're gonna have to king me, unlike real checkers. It's like,
Yeah. No.
they're trying too hard.
Yeah. This is good. I mean, it's silly, but.
But it
don't know,
reinforces the fictional world that they live
That
in.
they live in.
They would joke around about Magneto, even though he's like a genocidal supervillain. They wouldn't just make generic jokes.
Right.
Well,
right.
besides that, soap radios. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what that
I don't
soap
know, maybe
radio
that's
is
what
either.
they use in the MCU. Soap radios.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So anyway, they decide they're going to go out for dinner, and then Overmind is like, well, he's like, oh, I was lost in thought. I didn't see you guys coming.
They just ran into
They
him.
run right into him. Crack. And it breaks up the ice, too. I got to look into Overmind because he looks pretty cool. And a little
He looks like he could be from Thor's world.
Thor. Yeah, he could be Asgardian
Yeah.
or maybe the. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like
Maybe he's
really
like a Eternal or something.
like
He
an
could be
Eternal. Yeah. But anyway, so they talk about it, and they're gonna go out to dinner, but Overmind doesn't have any money, and they're like, "Oh, don't worry, Iceman will pay for it." And so they go out to this club, and it totally gives vibes of like some weird 50s jazz club or something. Or it's really
I love Gargoyle's suit though.
yeah.
Very inconspicuous.
And this guy's huge.
Yeah.
Really shows how big
He's
he
sitting
is.
in 2 chairs.
And Hank, so he's wearing like
Sitting on his
flip flops.
Feet.
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't invent Crocs yet.
So, well, this is where this girl comes in, and he's like, Vera, Hank. And he forgot to call her. That's his girlfriend.
Uh-oh.
And they were supposed to have a date that night, but he didn't call her, and she's like, You
Jeez.
forgot about me? He's like, well, yes. And then so she leaves. If you forget about me tonight, then you can forget about me forever, Mr. McCoy. It's like, oh, rats.
Dang. Well, he
And
overcommits himself. He's on all these teams and stuff. It's hard to keep track of his schedule.
Gargoyle cracks me up. His face. It's ridiculous.
I like how they have his eyes in shadow.
Yeah,
Just have the sharp teeth emphasized.
yeah. So, and they talk about it, and they're like, he's like, well, I might just be dating her because I'm, hanging on to some of my past, and blah, and he gets a little down, and so she takes Gargoyle out to dance, which was so weird and random, and they're on the dance floor, and he's like, I'll tell you, Dolly, I don't think I've been out dancing with a girl as pretty as you since I was a young fella in France during World War I. Of course, in those days...
Does he think that she's really a gargoyle? Is that why they dance? She's just old gargoyle.
And then he's like, Rip, I didn't have... I didn't have any trussed up bat wings to get in the way.
God.
So he whips him out and he's dancing around as Gargoyle. So,
He's like flying.
yeah, so
I like the
apparently...
music staff.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
like that
touch.
whole, yeah. And everybody's clapping. So they obviously aren't, how could they hide who they are?
People aren't scared of them.
Yeah, they haven't done
But they're like,
anything
mutants
bad
on the
yet.
other hand, if you're born that way, I can't, that's a bridge too far for me. You're a freak. But if you're a gargoyle and you served in World War II,
World War One.
World War I even, the mustard gas turned you into it. You can't help it.
And then,
Hey.
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid man.
When I was a kid, I feel like today people are like, Kool-Aid? You must be poor. But back in the day, that was it, man. Kool-Aid. Ooh, look at that guy.
It was a
Didn't
rich
even notice
person's
him.
drink.
It's good stuff.
What's the vintage of this Kool-Aid?
This guy's...
I like the style of that. What is he? He's a thirsty. That's what he is. The
Yeah,
thirsties.
that's cool. Kill your bad breath.
Should we send something in to Kool-Aid Man comic book? It's in Bradley, Illinois.
Oh, I wonder if we have any.
I'll have to look. We'll have to cover the Kool-Aid comic.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good drawing.
Yeah, so then they come back and the Beast was thinking about, being part of a team and like having some angst about, and then was it Dolly who said, you can make it a team, and it kind of gives him motivation and inspires him. I can make it a team.
So
Like
they're
all
not
this
like formally the
disparate-
Defenders yet?
They are,
deciding
but
to be?
he's just, struggling with his own internal feelings about his place in the team and his.
You think he's drinking chocolate milk? Kind of looks like it.
It does look like it. But they talk about him like he's a boy in this, but he's not, because in his origin story, he's already a scientist.
A boy scientist.
Oh, one of those boy scientists.
Yeah, that was his career path.
But
Oh, now that is
That's-
an ad. I would
yeah.
play this video game. If I saw this in 1983, heck, I want to play it now.
That's what
Look
it's
at those
like.
graphics. Oh my. So that guy, I think, is this.
Is that guy? You can't even see his cheek thing.
It's a great drawing, though. That really makes me want to play.
Oh, heck yeah.
Dungeons and
D&D.
Dragons. Like
Yeah.
this font they can't come up with for like video games.
You can still find that font. It's out there.
Frogger.
Frogger was awesome.
I like Frogger.
I could only play it for like 10 minutes before I got too frustrated, but it was fun. And I mean, the graphics on that, cars from above or the side.
There's that
you
great
know?
Seinfeld episode where they have to move the Frogger
And
cabinet.
he's running
I
like
love that.
Frogger. But this was cool. It was.
I wish there was more Elf with a Gun in it, but
I
other than that, I
know.
liked it. I felt like it really felt like an ensemble cast comic because there were a lot of subplots going on with the different characters.
Yeah, it was definitely.
I would have liked to see Hulk get more to do. Doctor Strange was just
Yeah.
grumpy about being interrupted, but she got to teleport away. He got to dance to some jazz and wreck his suit.
He got a puppy.
He gave everyone a bath. He got a puppy and it peed.
Everywhere. Yeah, no.
Hulk, he just has that tendril of hair.
He was curling his hair.
Hulk has been growing it out. Do you think it is cool?
But
I will smash you.
something that I discovered actually reading this comic book, like from the very first episode, reading that first comic, I hadn't read comics in a while, not even graphic novels.
Really?
It's been probably 3 years since I read a graphic novel. And you kind of get out of the reading in sequence, you know? You kind of...
Like the flow of the panels?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And I realized that this is only the third, or is it the one?
Yeah, this is our third episode.
Third episode.
Episode 3 of comics.
And I'm reading them so much faster and getting so much more out of them. And actually, like, Soap Radio, what is that? Who is Overmind? Like, getting, you know, it's like, it's opening up more curiosity and inspiring me to
Get back invested.
get back
in
into
it.
it. Yeah.
No, I found the same thing. I
'Cause-
thought that it actually came back pretty quickly for me, the following the panels, but it is its own little language, like it's a little code that you learn to.
It really is, because I remember you got into comics, well, they were read to you as going to bed, but your sister...
I didn't even know they had art for a long time. Like, what? They had drawings?
But your sister had a hard time getting into comics, and I think it was the reading sequentially, you know, and following kind of the movement. Like
Oh, yeah.
some of those panels don't make sense, and you know, and they have arrows telling you where to go, and so it may not come
Even
naturally.
now and then I'll encounter a sequence where I'm like, wait, are we cutting between two different locations, or is this supposed to be the same place? That happens now and then. Not in these comics, but
No,
yeah,
but-
I found that reading a different one. So yeah, it's not natural. It's easy to take for granted once you get into the code of it, but
Yeah.
for new readers, yeah, it can be a little jarring, I think.
Yeah, but I'm loving it. It's great. It's
I
making
love
me.
the pinkish purple
I know.
defenders really
With
pops.
all of these like primary
It's
colors.
almost like a similar shade to his garment, I
It's-
think, and Hulk's
Hulk's
undies there, but
underpants.
it ties everything together.
Yeah, yeah.
These
I
are a
like
little
it.
darker, I think. He's been
But-
wearing them for a few days.
Turn them inside out.
That is not shade.
Hulk not amused. Hulk not laughing.
I'd worried a whole comic of Beast just training a puppy. I think they should just make a Beast.
He
What
looks
was his
like he
name?
would scare the crap out of a
Snickerdoodle
puppy.
or something?
Sassafras.
Sassafras, that's right. Sassafras.
But yeah, it was good. It was good.
All right. Well, that was fun.